So I actually did it. To prove once and for all that I'm the greatest pizza tower artist, I 100%ed all the public demos that I have access to. I may still have some unfinished business with the second public demo, along with all the other demos that came before it, but otherwise I am officially done with this short series of games and there's nothing else that I can do. And just like any obsessive maniac that exists, I want more. Sure, I could support the Pizza Tower Patreon to not only have my existence be at least somewhat recognized in the final build of the game, but to also get that sweet and juicy content before the actual game even comes out, but come on. Do you really think I have the time or patience to actually support a property that I'm a huge fan of? That's just absolutely preposterous. As a big whiny infant, I want my content free and now! And if you so happen to also be that infant, let me introduce you to the world of Pizza Tower mods. Now, because of the public demos essentially being modded content in and of themselves, these are actually not too difficult to download. A majority of them can be found on itch.io, and just like any other game on there, all you have to do is click that download icon, then extract it in your files and you're all good to go. But the question is, are any of these actually worth checking out? Is any modded content here absolutely worth your hard work and effort to put into? Well, that's why I'm here. I'll be covering mods that I found the most amount of interest in. The good, the bad, or the ugly. Doesn't really matter as long as it's at least somewhat entertaining. Also, for the record, this will be the first time I actually have to record game footage. So I don't know any sickos in the comments complaining about the slowdown and the 480p quality, which I as of now have no idea how to deal with. Just sit back, relax, and watch a man talk about video games, which really can't be that hard to do in this day and age. So to begin, let's start with the fucking oddball amount of chainsaw mods out there. Now I won't go on explaining what the chainsaw weapon actually is. I'll save that for my inevitable bonus video for whenever that comes out. But I will say that it's basically just an unused item that was originally going to be used in at least one of the public demos, and for some reason people fucking love modding it in. So I downloaded one of the mods, specifically made by Mineken, because he's the only person that I actually trust the mod actually working with. And as a guess, it's nothing too special. It's basically just an invincibility power-up, except you're on a treadmill for the whole thing. To use it, all you have to do is press V, then press up 7 times, then finish it off with pressing shift, and you'll be non-stop running, killing everything in your way. Think of it like the boost from modern Sonic games, except you run at half the speed. And it's pretty unfinished too, as I got soft locked multiple times from seemingly doing absolutely nothing, having to go back to the title screen. So in short, I have no idea what the fuck's the deal with this thing, and all of you modders are crazy for modding it in every single way possible. Next up is Pizza Multi, based off the Sonic ROM hack Sonic Multi, which is a hack that allows anything you collect, hit, or touch to double up in infinite amounts. And as you can imagine, it's pretty fun to mess around with. It's kinda funny that you can just get an A rank instantaneously. Though unfortunately, I was not able to progress in Pizzascape, as rolling through blocks almost always has the chance of softlocking the game. Next up is Retro and Hentai Hell 13+. Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, my curiosity had a hand in this one, but to my surprise, despite the name, it really isn't that interesting. It's basically just a palette swap of some new added sound effects with absolutely nothing hentai about it. And the last 2 levels aren't even finished aside from the music being changed. The changed music being Alex Lee's Take It and Fry Boys from Weenie Cop for some reason. Really wish I had more to say on this, but no, that's all there is. It's particularly just a shitty repainted version of the game in question, and those are purposely supposed to be shitty. Oh yeah, Peppermint Space Station, now this is what I'm talking about. It's more so just a mod of the first public demo except with anti-gravity, along with an all-new level in the hub world. And upon entering it, I was already confused. I mean, I really don't have to explain what is wrong here, and it feels just as bad as it looks. Couldn't progress in this one, so I just moved on with the actual game, and thankfully there it doesn't feel as bad. And right after the tutorial, you're greeted with the sweet tunes of Leaning Dream and Rango UFO. You know, in combination with this music and the anti-gravitational controls really makes this feel oddly relaxing, to be honest. Definitely makes the whole experience a lot more bearable, though to my mistake I accidentally got stuck in a metal block, leaving me unable to progress. But I really don't think I'm missing much, as I heard when you actually reach Peppermint the game begins to crash. Next we have a nice little Wii mod here, Pizza Tower Hardoween Plus. Doesn't change anything too drastically, only the enemy's color palettes, and it adds music from the wonderful OST of Pizza Tower Reheated. I actually kinda prefer a lot of these color palettes over the originals. The goblins especially are really nice looking. I'm all for any different types of shaded green. But oh god, I'm so tired of downloading all these games. Wish you could just play something straight off the website. Ah, here we go, Pizza Tower browser version, just what I needed. Let's see what this is all about. Next we have The Noise's Bizarre Halloween. Would make a JoJo reference here, but that would just make me come off as an obnoxious asshole with useless information about a fictional world with wacky characters that he likes to spread to everyone in the world while also repeating the same joke over and over in hopes that somebody would acknowledge how smart or funny he is despite that not even meaning anything in the real world outside of an online presence. I mean, come on. I'm definitely not the kind of person to be that stupid. But the mod essentially lets you play as the Noise in levels from the Sage demo, alongside giving the Noise a bunch of new moves, some of which I don't know and don't really care to know how to access. But I'm gonna guess that a majority of them are either from the Patreon demos or are unused. And also no, if most of them are from the Patreon demos, this technically wouldn't count as stealing, because the Noise is a completely different character now, so I doubt that PTG even cares anymore. The Noise is also given a new bomb throwing move that does absolutely nothing helpful aside from stunning enemies, which is already pretty easy to do. But it is pretty fun to spam, so I'll give it that. Last thing it includes is an unused Noise boss fight from the first public demo, except he moves way faster than usual and making him a lot harder to beat. And I say that in quotes because he only dies in a single hit. So yeah, I guess if you're the kind of person who wants to play as the Noise in the Sage demo, then this is for you. Here's Windows X Pizza. I guess every single game with mod support needs to have at least one mod using Windows sound effects. And yeah, this mod is basically just that, and it's always decently amusing. Next is the Peter Griffin experience. It just replaces the Peppino sprite with Peter Griffin. Let's move on. Wide Peppino mod. Just makes Peppino wide. Again, moving on. Pizza Tower Vibin'. Mod that didn't even show up on the front page, so you already know that we're reaching the bottom of the barrel for this one. Starts you off with a dark green Peppino. Can't say I'm a huge fan, he's looking pretty gross. And I have achievements unlocked? This is a bit strange, because when I actually went into the cowboy task room, everything stayed untouched as usual. Here I noticed some glitching going on in the bottom corners, but whatever, it's nothing too important to complain about. Okay, so I probably should have read what this game is actually about before downloading, but still, now I'm kinda intrigued in some weird, subductive way, so I'll keep on going. So the enemies cannot hurt you, but they're still able to deliver their attacks, so I got turned into a knight here more times than usual. Oh, and of course the goblins are still allowed to kick you, made even worse by the fact that you can't even pick them up. Alright, what the fuck is this shit about? So apparently the whole thing's an inside joke. Yep. Don't really understand why the creator released it to the public without the proper context, but okay. Glad to see it here, I guess. Anyway, let's start moving on to the good shit already. First up's Pizza Tower Leaning Nightmare, which I'd like to call to be the best public mod that you can play for the Sage demo. And for good reason too, because aside from changing the level design to be balls to the walls hard, it also has some really good updated sprite work and a surprisingly killer soundtrack, including an orchestrated version of the Snick is Coming theme. The Snick challenge itself is also a lot different from its predecessor, because of its absurd amount of gimmicks building up in size the more you progress. And I don't use the word absurd so lightly, these range from adding new obstacles only seen in the challenge to even incorporating jump scares, which is pretty rad. Unfortunately though, I wasn't actually able to play the mod as it uses a Dart RAR file for download, unlike all the other games on here which use a more manageable .zip. This made the game itself pretty difficult to load and made my computer freak out multiple times in the end. So yeah, it might not be as open and accessible as I mentioned before, but still, if you're a fan of Pizza Tower and know how to work this kind of shit without losing patience in less than 2 seconds, then this is probably the best wasted time that you can experience. Trust me, I would know. But before we move on, remember that mineken guy I mentioned a few paragraphs ago? Well, he just so happens to be a pizza tower modding genius. As of now, he's in the middle of developing another mod for the Sage demo that so far includes new Peppino moves, a playable noise, a fixed version of the factory level, and, well, so far that's all there is to know. He's also responsible for creating an entire pizza tower engine based on the structure and physics of the early test build, and so far in development it feels pretty damn accurate. But since this is a video about mods, I won't go into the nitty-gritty details for why that is. If you do want to see my Pizza Tower fan games video, well, that sounds like something I would do on my shitposting channel, so the link for that will be in the description. And hey, if it already wasn't obvious that I'm a shameless Cybershow clone, here's my third channel where I upload VODs for my Twitch streams, but only the good ones, as there's no reason for me to upload 2 hours of silence with me occasionally screaming from time to time. But to finish up, I of course saved the best for last, Pizza Tower Demo 3. Despite it still being a work in progress, it's probably some of the best Pizza Tower modded content out there. It has 4 playable characters, 11 levels including the ones from Sage, Xmas Break, and Halloween, with fixed versions of the factory, mentioned, sewer, desert, and freezer levels, a less tedious golf level with new background elements and music, Snick gets new animations and escape theme, you can now make laps around each level, the Vigilante is playable, there's alternate versions of the desert level via Encore mode from Sonic Mania, and there's probably still more to come. Just when you start to guess that the project's about to come to an end, the creator just keeps adding more shit to the mod, like adding different colored alts to Snick for example, or giving ancient cheese parallax scrolling. I'm not complaining about this in any way, I find all of this to be pretty goddamn sick. It's just amazing how many little details and changes this guy's been adding for the past 3 months since the mod's announcement. Like, is this man even fucking human? Who knows? Although if something as good as this, it will always come with some sort of price, because to play it you actually have to support the Pizza Tower Patreon, since it does include some exclusive Patreon content such as the Vigilante being playable as mentioned before. But hey, I can totally get behind that. It's not an entirely unfamiliar idea of huge modded expansions not being free for purchase. Of course, this means that right now I most likely won't be able to play it, but still. Like with any other game, I'll always be able to appreciate it as a Pizza Tower fan's salty wet dream, even if I can't get my filthy hands on it. But now I'd like to say that looking at silly pizza game mods isn't what this video is actually about. You see, I'm broke, so I finally decided to open up a Patreon.